On today's episode of Let's Try Kitchen, I was challenged to make a steak dinner cheaply. Steak is not cheap, and the average cost for a ribeye steak is about $15 per person. For 3 people, that's about $45 for one single meal. When I arrived at the market, I found a cross rib roast for $16.78. So instead of making a steak dinner, I'll be using a roast, and we'll see how it goes. There's 3 people in my family, so that comes out to $5.59 per person. I have never cooked a cross rib roast, let alone I don't even know what this is. But what the heck is a cross rib roast? Upon my research, the cross rib roast is not actually from the rib section. It is right above the brisket, sitting along where the chuck meets the rib section, thus making the name cross rib roast. This roast is heavy in sinew, so low and slow is the name of the game. I'll be butterflying and tying this bad boy up in butcher twine. When I received this cut, I did not like the odd shape of the roast, as this would probably give uneven cooking. I trimmed some extra fat, especially the parts that may not render down in the 12 hours of cooking. I butterflied the roast into one long sheet of meat. I drizzled some olive oil and added some rub that is high in sea salt, honey, garlic, and mustard. I then added some dried parsley and chopped garlic. I then rolled the roast and tied with butcher twine. After tying, I added salt and pepper to the exterior of the roast. I then placed the roast into a plastic bag with olive oil, garlic, and rosemary. I preheated my sous vide at 132 degrees Fahrenheit and added my roast into the water bath for 12 hours. After the 12 hours, I removed my roast from the sous vide and placed it into an ice bath, and then into the fridge overnight. I took my roast out of the bag and allowed my roast to come to room temperature for about a full hour. After handling my roast, I could tell that this meat was extremely tender and very delicate. It was fully cooked and it only needed a high sear. I got a cast iron ripping hot and I added my roast. After searing some sides, I added garlic, rosemary, and butter to the pan and got to basting. After slicing the roast, I was really happy with the results. The roast had incredible edge-to-edge medium rare. The roast was cooked well through to the temperature of my preference, and it was extremely tender. I was surprised at how subtle the garlic flavor was. How could I improve this roast? Well, definitely add more seasoning to the roast. I need to remember that it is okay what the eye may think is over-seasoned. Go with it. I definitely would recommend this method to anyone who is on the hunt to change up their traditional steak dinners. It's a cheap alternative with tasty results. Well, this was Jonathan from Let's Try Kitchen, and I thank you so much for watching. Oh, and if you have a recommendation for an episode, please leave a comment below, as well as considering liking and subscribing. And as always, if you have messed up in the kitchen, you can always begin again.